Good morning and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kallevig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group, and we appreciate you listening this morning. If anything resonates, if you have questions, worries, concerns, anytime, feel free to give us a call, 612-504-8400. Visit us online at havenfinancialgroup.com. Check out all the classes continuing through the summer. Community education, our education center. Education is a big part of our business. It's how we meet a lot of people. It's how we help a lot of people. And maybe that's you. Maybe that's you. So we'd love to hear from you. Kim, we got a lot to talk about today as we continue to talk about retirement and do's and don'ts and the right, wrong, or indifferent. So good to be with you again.
It's great to be with you as well. And I hope that you have had a great holiday weekend. Hard to believe that the 4th of July is now behind us, and away we go for the rest of the summer. And I hope you're enjoying it, and those who are listening are enjoying it as much as I have been enjoying it. It's my favorite time of year, short of Christmas. So these are good times for sure. We're going to talk about a lasting financial plan when you're in retirement. And I think this is a really interesting conversation, and it's set apart from some of the others that we have had in the most recent past, because this is talking about not just what you need to do with your personal finances to enjoy that time, but this is a lot about estate planning. This is a lot about looking forward to the legacy that you want to leave and what maybe you want to plan for your loved ones after you may not need that money anymore.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We just this past week had a class, one that we taught at our education center. We had a big waiting list, and it was end of life discussion. What you should do before end of life, and then afterwards, what family should do. And we had the local funeral home here representing, as well as the provision law, our estate planning partners, and then us on the financial planning end. And it was full. We're going to be doing another one. So this is important stuff, not fun to talk about. The reality, and you and I talk weekly, is your retirement is a really complex machine. It requires the savings and the wealth accumulation during those accumulation years, and then an investment plan that matches your goals and your objectives and your risk tolerance, and then a constant upkeep to make sure it's meeting your goals, whether that's pre-retirement, post-retirement. And then we're going to talk today about legacy, estate planning. How do you accomplish those goals ahead of time, but then afterwards to make sure whatever you have, small, medium, or large, this isn't just talking to those that are affluent, but this is talking to everybody, young and old, rich and famous, or all the common folk like you and I, about what we really should do to prepare ourselves, our spouses, and our family, because that's really what it's about.
Absolutely. Well, let's get started talking about refining your estate plan. Estate plans, first off, I know there at Haven Financial Group, and we want to explain to everyone, we say this each week, but you guys offer full service planning for retirement and thereafter. I love to call it one-stop shopping because I love that idea that the right hand and the left hand are talking to one another. That's one of the great benefits of Haven Financial Group. The person down the hall knows about your taxes, while the person down at the other end of the hall can talk to you about your estate planning, and then they can put together a plan together that makes sense for you. So refining an estate plan, how do you go about doing so? This is sometimes not a conversation that people want to have, but boy, it sure is important.
Yeah, proactive, not reactive. That's just not something you want to do after the fact, because oftentimes by that time it's too late. We've made, as a society, we've made this estate plan, or whatever you want to call it, kind of a senior topic. And it was never designed to be a senior topic. It was designed when and if you got married, had maybe kids, maybe bought an asset or a house, accumulated something. That's really when it was designed for. But again, human nature is let's put it off. Well, I'll get around to it someday. And then constantly I ask people, well, how long have you been thinking about doing it? And it's very common for them to say 10, 20, 30, 40 years. That's a long time to be thinking about something this important. And then oftentimes we see, well, mom and dad didn't get around to doing anything, and they passed away, and now there's a mess.
Right.
Now there's a mess that the executor, or the individuals, the family members, they get to deal with. And we're trying to avoid these messes. And really, you can avoid the messes but it involves always having a plan, a proactive plan, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get started. If you are to sit down with someone and you're going to, and I realize that you have estate attorneys who do this, but we're going to refine our estate plan. First thing you need to do is really itemize your items. And when we say that, I'm not necessarily thinking that you're going through going, oh, well, I've always loved this pot. Who's this pot going to go to? But more the idea of looking at your overall wealth, investments, assets, and sort of putting them down and getting sort of an idea of what it is that you have.
Yeah, first I'll say that Provision Law is our great partners. Provision Law, Carrie, Keith, and Lexi are estate planning partners that we work very closely with. And when I say very closely with, you said the communication here at Haven Financial Group. A week ago, I just had a great family vacation up north. That's kind of a tradition. And during the week, I got a couple few emails that said, "Oh, the Larsons got their trust done. Here's the information," or the Johnsons got their will and trust done. Please update beneficiaries. That's how closely we work together. And that's where there should be the coordination of all these retirement things and all these topics. And you mentioned, itemizing your inventory. Take inventory. What possessions do you have? Create a detailed list. The truth is in the details. It helps give clarity to your loved ones if something happens, what your intentions are. And you know what? It just makes it easier for the family to manage if you're unable or you're not here anymore. So maybe when you do itemize that, you might want to even take to another level and take a video for a
Hmm.
variety of reasons. You should also do that for insurance reasons of something, a replacement of items. So even taking a video, itemize, document what these assets are. The easiest thing is to have things in order, compile the information in some sort of orderly process, and then that will provide a clear picture of what your obligations and what your intentions are. And that can really go a long way to help out your family and loved ones.
Absolutely. Updating those beneficiaries is so important. I think people sometimes forget maybe you've had a change of status in your family. What maybe there's been a divorce or, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're divorced. Maybe one of your children has divorced or, or maybe one of them has married. There's some kind of change in status in your life and those beneficiaries have to be changed.
I've said this so many times in the show over the years that beneficiaries, it sounds so elementary, but weekly we see statements that have outdated beneficiaries, ex spouses, no beneficiaries. And again, that is a recipe for a disaster that you
Mhm.
really should avoid. And it's not difficult. Just make sure your beneficiaries are current and up to date. And that's easily done when you have a partner that's looking at these things. And we're currently updating and asking, is it still your three kids? Or do you want any changes? What percentages? That's what a partner really should be doing is hold you accountable because beneficiaries, a will isn't always the best way. Beneficiaries is important but you also got to, this is where the conversation comes in with us and the estate planning partners that we have, Carrie, Keith, and Lexi, is because how do you want those assets transferred? Beneficiaries, it automatically, there's no controls.
Mhm.
A will is subject to probate. Most people don't know that. And that goes through the court system. Well, what if you don't want to go through the court system? That's where there's a conversation potentially of a revocable trust.
Mhm.
Is that necessarily? A trustee versus an executor, powers of attorney. Okay, well, that's for when you're actually alive. If something happens, who's going to be in charge of your financial decisions, your medical decisions, living will, healthcare instructions? Who's in charge? And if you're listening and you're married, you're thinking, wow, I've been married 30, 40 years. My spouse is automatic.
Mhm.
100% not accurate. There is no automatic. You need to, a lawful attorney, in fact, appoint somebody in case these things happen. Of course, we hope none of these things ever happen, but guess what? Life happens. So we have to again become proactive. And when I'm saying this, I'm actually speaking to anybody listening that's 18 or older. Yes,
Mm.
legally an adult. I try to practice what I preach. Been doing this for years, and my wife and I, we have four daughters. They're all adults. They all have powers of attorney. They all have them executed. Why? Because if something, God forbid, happened to them, I do not want to have to go to a court to get
Right.
permission to see them or make decisions. Again, if you're listening 18 and above or any age above that, you really need to have these done. And then when you do them, you don't set them on the shelf. You make sure that they're updated regularly. We encourage every 2 to 3 years. You shouldn't have additional costs that go with that. It should be part of services that are offered with whoever you're working. And I'll tell you this, many times when we ask, well, do you have a will? Yes. How old is it? Well, let's just say our kids were in elementary school. How old are they now? Oh, they're 40. Oh, and your will says that they have to go live with your brother or
Grandma.
sister.
Right.
Yeah, great. I'm sure they're going to love that. Again, outdated updates. Again, they need
Yeah.
to be updated. Again, this is all stuff that isn't fun and exciting, but I will tell you, Kim, just this week we had several families that finished their estate plan, whatever that looked like, will, trust, power, whatever that was. And I heard it many times. Wow, we finally accomplished something that we've been trying to get done
Right.
for years. And there's this sense of peace of mind. And I will tell you, and you know this, that peace of mind goes a long way to know if something happens, everything's going to be okay.
Yes, it certainly
That's
does.
true peace of mind.
It really is. It really, really is. And we're going to talk more as this show progresses about why having this kind of estate plan is impactful on your retirement, how it can actually help you when you inventory, when you think about these things. This helps you as you continue to plan your retirement as well, just knowing what it is that you have. 612-504-8400. That's how you reach the folks at Haven Financial Group. If you're somebody who does not have an estate plan, or maybe you have one, you need it reviewed, maybe you don't have a retirement plan at all, give the folks at Haven Financial Group a call. It's 612-504-8400. When we come back, we're going to talk about real estate and retirement planning and how important and impactful that can be on those fabulous golden years. You're listening to the Haven Financial Group radio show.